Hi, I'm Jessica Rudnicki with Reynolds and Reynolds. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm sitting down with someone who's no stranger to the Automotive News Top 100 list. Steve Strickland is the general manager at Hendrick Lexus Charleston in beautiful South Carolina, and if we're lucky, he might just share his secret to getting on this list. Let's get connected. Steve, it is such a pleasure to have you on Connected today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, I'm super excited. I love this company. I love Mr. Hendrick. I've worked for him for 25 years, and any opportunity that I get to talk about the great company that we have, all the 10,000, 11,000 great employees that we have, it's a privilege to be able to do this. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I'm just as excited as you are because Hendrick Automotive Group had 26 stores named to the top 100 dealerships to work for in 2020, which is just such an impressive accomplishment. So, Steve, I wanted to talk to you today and ask you a couple of questions about making this list. So, what does it take to make it into that group of dealerships?
Well, first of all, it takes the full response of the whole team, and everyone, knows that we work for such a great person, and we have such a great company, and it takes the leadership at the dealership to make sure that everyone participates, and how important it is to really to respond and to let them know that now is a great time for you to voice your opinion, because you poll everybody individually one-on-one and talk to them. They love the Hendrick organization. They love working for them. I can't believe that we didn't fill the whole 100 up from just our company and all. But I really think that the leaders and the general managers at all that really understand the buy-in and how important it is for our company, our future, and to really get the word out in an industry that a lot of times we don't, it's not always positive that you hear. So we are a people first company. Mr. Hendricks always talked about that. He talks about it, anytime he gets an opportunity to get interviewed, through the pandemic and everything that we've just been through. It really shined and showed that he does put his people first, and also we have such a great opportunity now to give back to him and all the leaders of our company.
Yes, definitely. Now, you mentioned leadership a lot. What type of leadership approach does the Hendrick organization take?
So our core value, servant leadership is so big. We talk about it all the time. We talk about it in all our group calls. We talk it on our John Maxwell life coaching calls that all of us general managers have, and then we drill it down to small groups that we talk about in the dealership and all the time. But servant leadership is a principle that Mr. Hendrick has lived by for many, many years, and it's hard when you've got so many employees to instill that in everyone. But he really focuses that his leaders of his stores carry the core values, which is servant leadership and giving to our teammates, to give them the opportunity to be the best that they can be and take care of our guests and all. But he's a true believer. If you take care of your employees, they're going to take care of the guest, and that's something that he's lived by from day one. He gives us all the right technology in today's marketplace to make it easy for the customers. It makes us easy to communicate, stay in touch with our guests, and all the tools that are out there to make us successful and make it an easy transition or working with our guests and their experience be the best.
I love that you mentioned technology because as a technology provider, obviously we value that a lot and helping dealerships make sure that they have the right technology to help their customers. Steve, talk to me a little bit about personnel. So you mentioned having, servant leadership, having the right technology. How do you make sure that you get the right personnel and that they're bringing the right skill set to the table?
Well, we always talk about it in our company is, we hire for talent. Okay. When we interview, we try to interview to make sure we bring the right person into our family. We're not a company that just will hire anyone, just throw them out there and just hope that they work. And then, we give them all the training and the technology that they need to be successful. We talk about our processes all the time. And, I would rather be hard on a process than I would the people. And Mr. Hendrick feels that same way. So in return, he gives us all the great technology, and, and the companies that we work with, they listen to us. Okay. Last thing Mr. Hendrick ever wants is an obstacle. We've tried some things in the past, and if it just slowed down business and it was added more stress to our employees, then we would regroup and go move forward from there. And, Reynolds and Reynolds has been a great partner with us for so many years and really listened to to what we needed out in the field, not to make it too complicated, but just to make it easier so we can stick to our process and make it simple. Because in our business, if we can relieve the stress from our employees, then they're going to give a better experience to our guests. And the tools that we try to use that we built through the years is one to make it, you know, less stressful on the employee, but yet to focus on giving a great experience.
Definitely. And I think, you know, making the list of the top 100 dealerships to work for, I mean, that in and of itself says that your employees, they want to work for the Hendrick organization. So I just think that's so important. I kind of want to circle back to technology and
Yeah.
ask you a little bit more about that. So how do you think the technology that you have in your dealership and in the Hendrick organization as a whole, how do you think that that plays a role in setting up a successful dealership, you know, both at the individual store level and also across that, you know, larger group?
Well, one thing with our technology, when our guests come in, we want to make it, you know, it's very stressful when you come in to buy or service a car. And, you know, with our technology, we want it to be seamless when someone comes in, but we also want our employees to be able to stay in touch with our guests and have information that, you know, it's hard to keep up with all your guests, and especially because our employees, a lot of them have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, and it's hard for them to keep up with all the employees. But the technology that we have today, you know, it's a good tool. It reminds them of their customer base and following up when a guest comes in for service. We've got a lot of their information. We make it so that we can get them in and out of here faster than ever, because time is most important to the customers right now. So, you know, the technology that we have available right now it just makes it easier for everyone.
Yeah. And I think today, especially, you know, with the pandemic, more people are starting that process online. So being able to, you know, provide, like you mentioned, a seamless process where you're starting it online, but then you're kind of transitioning to in store. So how do you bridge that gap and make it as seamless as possible? So I love that you mentioned that. Um, Now, reporting and data are super important as well. So how does the reporting tools that you have and being able to manage, you know, one name file and customer in the customer database, how do those contribute to the Hendrick Automotive Group, you know, making decisions that consistently drive stores into this top dealers list and be able to be as profitable as you are?
Yeah, there's staying in touch with your customers. You know, we talk about that we want customers for life, you know. So when we're with a guest, the last thing we want to do is to you know, to contact them too many times or not enough times. We try to use that fine medium in there where they're happy that we've contacted them, happy that we're staying in touch with them, happy that when they come in that we have all the information that we need to speed them up through the process and give them a great process. You know, as you mentioned a minute ago, you've got some guests that, you know, they want to do a lot of it online. They feel more comfortable doing online than when they get here. It's already prepared and all. You know, our tools are set up where a customer can do as much information online as they want before they get here, or some of them like to do it when they're more comfortable here. You know, we have some guests that they're not up to speed with our technology. So we still have areas or ways that we can help those that are fast in technology, or those that are a little scared from technology. And you know, when a customer buys a car, on that side of the business, you know, they want to do some research online, but they still want to come in, touch it, feel it, smell it. But if we have some customers that call or notify us that they want to buy a car within a 45-minute window, then we have all the tools that we need to be able to get them in, get them out real quick. So it's a wide range, and you know, we're still adjusting every day to it. But with what has happened in the world with the pandemic and all, we've made some necessary changes to get more involved. Our management staff is more involved now than ever before to make sure that they're streamlining the process for our guests. And you know, we talk about playing our best players. We have some teammates that are better with technology that work here, that some that struggle with it a little bit. So we use our best customers, our best employees that can help the customers that want to use all the technology, or the ones that are used to doing the process, you know, before, you know, technology got to be such a big part of our business.
Right. And I, you know, as a valued partner of Reynolds and Reynolds, I love that you brought that up. I think, you know, we kind of hear that in the industry where it does take a few cycles to get customers who maybe haven't adapted yet to this kind of technology to get used to it, but it sounds like you have a great process in place and you're getting them cycled through. So I'm so happy to hear that. Steve, I want to know what kinds of strategies are in place this year to make a push for more Hendrick stores to make the top 100 list for next year.
Well, we have our list that Mr. Hendrick comes out with every year, okay? And he writes them towards November, December, and then we launch them out for the year. And, communication is always on that list, okay? And I feel like the stores, because I feel that just all of our stores are great. Some are better than others, but I think it's really the ones that the store communicates the importance of taking the survey and giving your, take the time to give your pure feelings about where you work and all, and just talk about the whole company overall, and not just one or two little incidents through your career that has made you upset, but overall the big picture of it, and just sharing that with the team and how important it is. That really, really helps. But Mr. Hendrick gives everyone the tools to be successful. He gives us the opportunity to give back to our community, give back to our employees, and really buy in. And it's really the general managers that take this serious. And I think that last year, with so many of our Hendrick teams winning, I think there are more teams that want to win. And we're a competitive market and a competitive company and all. And I feel this year we're going to see a lot of people really step up their game and bring it. And I think maybe last year they didn't think they had to do so much because we work for such a great company and they have such great employees that they would just speak out. But we're busy in what we do, and if you don't focus on how important it is, then I think that is the key right there. It's just letting everyone know how important it is to take the time to fill out the survey and give your true feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think, the core values that the Hendrick organization has of taking care of their people and their customers, it plays into that. And I have no doubt that your store and many other stores within the Hendrick Automotive Group will make the top 100 list again this year. So, Steve, thanks so much. This was like the most exciting interview I've ever done. Thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. We look forward to our continued partnership with you and your dealership group's success.
Well, thank you so much. We value your partner. Mr. Hendrick has always taught us that, our partners are so important, and we share the victories together and all, but we've got the tools to be successful. We live by our core values, as you mentioned several times, the word right: respect, integrity, great teamwork, honesty, and trust. And if everyone does that, then we should all win.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Yep.
Steve shared some great strategies on how to make the top 100 list. A big congratulations again to him and the Hendrick Lexus Charleston team on such a wonderful accomplishment. Before we hop off, don't forget, you can watch or listen to episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to get notified every other Wednesday when new episodes are released. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks.